Run quick, see. We got to call Micah. It's Too Much Dip Pod. It's Monday. We got ourselves a future Super Bowl to talk about. My name is Dave. First things first, I'm going to turn up my headphones a little bit, a little low. There it is. Now we're operating at a high level. High performers here. Dylan's in the building.
I just wanted to say I'm extremely gassy today. Like if I weren't in here with you people, I could let one go like every couple of minutes. And I just wanted to be upfront about that. I'm holding it in because I'm a gentleman, but if I wanted to, I could just really light this place up all day.
Did you hear Dylan's lunch on Thursday? It was tuna fish and hard-boiled eggs.
Oh, it's top five
Well,
gassy.
the hard-boiled eggs are chopped up in part of the tuna. It's a pretty normal thing to do, I think.
It's still pretty gassy.
It's still gassy, though.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have that today.
What was today?
I went home and I made a ham sandwich, and I had some grapes and some sun chips.
Grapes could do it sometimes.
Grapes?
Yeah, they've done it for me.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll second that.
I was gassy before that even, so it's just one of those days, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Lord, he was born a gassy man. Trying to do a podcast and holding it in as he can.
That's right.
Okay.
I might just put some fart noises in post.
No, it's not. I don't think the people would appreciate
There's
that.
Randy.
Hi, Dave.
All right. KJ, how's your bloat?
I'd like to point out that going on 5 years of doing this pod, Dylan has been our North Star, if you will, very consistent in reminding the rest of us that potty humor in the first several minutes of the podcast is frowned upon. But, bold of him to make an about face in this moment.
I just thought I'd be honest with you guys. I'm dealing with something, and now you're aware.
So if we see you walk out.
That's probably to let one rip.
Okay. On that note, let's let it rip and call Micah.
Okay.
Micah Wiener, not Micah Parsons.
Noted.
A lot of people thought we might be calling Micah Parsons.
Noted Cowboys fan / hater, which I think describes a lot of people these days.
Because, we got ourselves a new football head coach.
New head man in Dallas.
New head man. Let's see what Micah thinks of the head job. Let's call him.
Hello, it's Micah.
Hello, I'm looking to lease a large piece of equipment, and I was hoping you were the man to talk to.
Well, we can do that, but we typically do equipment finance agreements.
Oh,
But you've come to the right place. I would love to help you. Hello, David Ruff. How are you?
Hey, Micah.
Oh, it's Dylan.
Miss you, love you.
ILY, my friend.
Hi, Micah.
Hello. Oh, it's the Ram Man. The whole squad's here. Is KJ here?
KJ's here, too.
I'm present, Micah. The only thing I want to know about is the status of that Margaritaville machine. Last time I think we spoke with you, not only did you recently acquired that, but also like a pallet of random goods. But the Margarita machine is on my mind.
The Margarita machine is not currently operating. But, if anybody out there knows how to fix one, there's a very lucrative prize out there for you.
Okay.
Respect.
was that the one
Yeah.
that you and Will went in halfsies on?
Yeah, it's never really worked.
They say the best and worst day of the Margarita machine, right? First day.
It's like it doesn't get cold enough. It mixes, but it's not cold enough to make it slushy.
Correct.
Yeah.
If there's anybody who has experience making things cold, you know where to find me at Micah Wiener. But
Okay.
we're not doing plugs today. That's a circling back bit.
We got ball to talk.
We got to talk ball, Micah.
Oh man, there was some ball this weekend.
There was some ball, but also little Schottenheimer, a little Brian Schottenheimer, as the Dallas football Cowboys shocked the coaching world, the football world, by announcing late Friday night that we got ourselves a new coach. It's
Elevating OC Brian Schottenheimer.
the non-play calling OC Brian Schottenheimer is the new head coach in Dallas. Micah, what do you know about Brian Schott?
Well, I know what everybody else knows. He's a career assistant and a fairly non-compelling choice. I'm glad you mentioned that this news broke on Friday, because in addition to the classic Friday news dump, the timing is just, it doesn't make any damn sense. We spoke whenever we think of like week 6, if not a little bit later than that. The season was over. You had a lame duck coach that you could have fired at any point. If you could have fired him with 4 weeks left in the season, or 6 weeks left in the season, or 2 weeks left in the season, there wouldn't have been any drop off. The season was lost. If you would have fired him with 2 weeks left in the season, you might have had a shot at Bill Belichick, or at least the opportunity to interview Bill Belichick, perhaps the greatest coach who's ever lived. Or, if you, at this point, it's not like you're getting ready for recruiting, David. We know that the Cowboys aren't going to get rid of any of their scouting staff. So your draft prep isn't changed by hiring Brian Schottenheimer on a Friday. Could you wait 2 weeks and talk to an offensive coordinator whose team is in the Super Bowl? Could you wait until today and talk to Cliff Kingsbury? I think you probably could have. At this point, there's really no sense. You're only competing against the Saints for coaching candidates. And everything about it stinks, as you guys, as our listeners certainly know.
Yeah, I think I'll push back a little bit. There was some rumbling out there that he may have had opportunities to jump onto another staff since Mike was gone. Schottenheimer, somebody else allegedly wanted him, and I don't. That wouldn't shock me, because when you've had when your resume looks like his and you've worked for like every team in some capacity, you probably know a ton of people, and you probably are well liked. So that wouldn't shock me if he actually had opportunities and they had to act quickly. But yeah, the Friday news dump is interesting because it's certainly not the Cowboys' way.
Don't tell me that if he went to the Dolphins as the offensive coordinator and Jerry said, I want to interview you for the head coach, he still couldn't have been available for that. Let's not act like the Cowboys had to move quickly to lock down Schottenheimer. Okay, it's not like the Saints were making him an offer and we're in a bidding war here. The Friday news dump is certainly noteworthy as well, but this is a hard one to put a positive spin on, Dave.
I'm curious if you guys, so they did their announcement press conference earlier today, and Jerry Jones, of course, sat in front of a mic and said a few things. I'm curious if you guys caught any of that.
I did. I caught a little bit, and it went exactly like you thought it would go.
So he's responding to a lot of the commentary out there that's saying that he refuses to leave his comfort zone. Like he wants a safe hire. He likes to, elevate his own guys, or at least guys that have been on the Cowboys staff in the past. And he said, how can you say I refuse to step out of my comfort zone when I'm hiring a head coach or hiring a guy that has zero head coaching experience? He said, I'm taking on all the risk here, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because this is your comfort zone. You're elevating a guy from your own staff who is, as he said, has no head coaching experience. It seems just like such a blah hire. And I thought those comments were interesting.
Well, I didn't get a chance to sit down and watch the Jerry press conference because obviously I was working with America's premier equipment finance group, Lease Point Funding Group, and doing outreach to clients and partners. But I did see a couple of the quotes, including one where Jerry said that he wanted to coach the team, or he wanted to be a coach, but he wanted to have a private jet. But now, based on how much these guys are money, maybe he should have just stayed in coaching, which I found hilarious and, of course, unsurprising. He also it's also clear from the quotes that I saw, Jerry very much heard everyone's complaints, and which is also in itself a problem. Your general manager shouldn't be watching First Take. And, it's just the worst. It's the worst. The fact that you've got to react, instead of introducing your guy and showing being confident with it. You spend the whole time talking about how you're justifying your hire as opposed to introducing your hire, which is probably, who are we? We don't know. Time will tell. Maybe they win Super Bowls with this guy, but as far as winning the press conference, Jerry never does that.
Yeah, not to mention not exactly instilling confidence in your new hire by saying we're taking on a lot of risk here by hiring a pretty inexperienced guy. It was just a bizarre thing to say, in my opinion. But yeah, you're probably not supposed to respond to the public ridicule in that way.
I need Jerry to do like the whole celebrities read mean tweets approach, but like just put up a screen with like the feed or report that you're responding to and just let Jerry clap back in the moment instead of asking questions from the crowd. Let's just put that up on the screen. Let Jerry go, candid on those. That's what he's doing anyway.
Well, Jerry,
run with it.
Jerry has shown himself to be, do you remember that clip from one of the Bosa brothers a couple years ago where like some Philly fan is like talking shit to him in a parking lot and he's like, bro, I'm a millionaire, bro. Like that. He pulled that card. Jerry seems to have that, but he'll be like, how could I be? He said like in the past, like, how could I ever like be upset? Look at my stadium. He's that guy. That's like part of his
building this is.
Yeah, that's in his bag.
Like we know that. Like that doesn't have to be said, is my point. Like, why? Like we all know the deal with Jerry. Everybody's known the deal with Jerry. He's owned the team for 40 years now. Like he's super rich. He doesn't want to pay coaches well. He doesn't care about winning. He cares about noise and exposure and, protecting his asset and squeezing everything he can out of it. And we know all of this. Like if I'm Jerry, who certainly lacks self-awareness, just have the self-awareness to know that people are going to criticize you and just don't respond to it. It's not the point. Just say, like, we love this guy and we think he's going to be a great head coach and we're excited about him. We think, I'm a genius for hiring him. Like, say that stuff. Don't reply to the haters on the hiring day. That's not what you do.
Yeah.
What do you
think I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, KJ.
I was going to say, do you think any of the disappointment of the Brian Schottenheimer hire has to do with not only the timing, as Micah laid out very well, you basically eliminated yourself from other candidates, but the unnecessary and completely predicted by yours truly, floating of Deion Sanders is like the only and real first name associated with this coaching search. Like to start there, polarizing opinions on both sides of whether or not it was a good idea, ever going to happen, blah, 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 blah. But then to settle at Brian Schottenheimer, how much of that do you feel like led to some of this disappointment?
I mean, I don't know what the prime stuff was other than just a chance for Jerry to make headlines the day of the wild card round. I can't believe that prime was ever a real candidate here. A lot of the other organizations put out releases and posts on Instagram about how they have completed this coaching interview. I don't think the Cowboys ever did any of that. I mean, I don't know what what the Rooney Rule, stuff looks like on this. I don't think the conversation with Deion was considered a job interview. They kept calling it a conversation.
I think they did Leslie Frazier.
They did.
That box.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations to them. It's just, do you think that Jerry's answering of the haters, as we'll call it, like, do you think that that's going to get anyone off his back? Is that going to get people fired up for this season? Do we think that training camp attendance, which apparently has been on the decline the last couple of years, people are going to be showing up to see Mr. Schottenheimer? You think Jerry's riled the fan base up enough to get people excited? I don't think so.
No, that's going to be this. This is what worries me with the draft coming up. We've had
and I agree. It dovetails into that.
I think where it's going to get wild is in the draft, and I think it's going to be you're going to see a little Jones flex. I don't know what the wild card would be. Maybe it's a classic. Remember we traded up for corner out of LSU maybe a decade plus ago.
Claiborne?
Was it Claiborne? Yeah. And it was like, okay, like, yeah, he's fine. Never lived up. It was in retrospect a terrible deal, but something crazy, and I'm a little worried about that because there is all of the buzz right now isn't like crazy Cowboys. It's like the sad and possibly financially strapped Jerry Jones Cowboys.
Add to that last year's debacle of being all in, plus this underwhelming hire. Like, I agree. You can veer very hard the other way just to like regain some of that sizzle.
Oh, and I mean, I agree with Dave. There's, this financially strapped is also the cap situation for the Cowboys. They're not going to go out and sign big name free agents. They're not bringing in this year's Saquon Barkley. The only chance they have to try and get people excited is going to be the draft, which means they're probably going to draft Genty or whatever, or somebody they think is going to make a big splash to try and sell jerseys and get people excited. It's just, it's the worst. Jerry has a different job than every other GM in the league. His job is not to win, not to create a winner. It's to build interest in the Cowboys and, hopefully maximize his asset. And, he can't be held accountable and he won't be held accountable. And it doesn't really matter. So this is what we have.
Yeah, the underlying thing here is it probably doesn't matter who they hire as head coach as long as Jerry Jones is still the one calling all the shots, right?
And, to get back to Mr. Schottenheimer, Dave mentioned he was an offensive coordinator who hasn't called plays, for the Cowboys anyway. I think the best way to describe his role with the Cowboys is just as consultant. Similar to when I was hired at Grand X, where I had no one reporting to me in any way, but I had bosses, and so everything I said, they're like, "Hey, we need to do this," was basically just a suggestion because I am a consultant. Because no one actually answers to me. Everyone answers to Jerry, and that's now everyone answered to the fat loser head coach they had previously, and now it's more clear than ever. Jerry is the one and only, the alpha and the omega, and it's sad. And if you hired Brian Schottenheimer because you watched the games this weekend and watched the Philadelphia score 7 rushing touchdowns, and you were reminded of the fact that the Cowboys scored 6 rushing touchdowns all season. Maybe you say, well, Schottenheimer, it's a good name. Marty was a great coach. Maybe we'll get like a little Lane Kiffin, Monty Kiffin deal here where, if we hire Lane, he's not experienced, but Monty will come run the defense and we'll be fine. And, we'll bring Marty in to kind of oversee things or run the offense. So Marty Schottenheimer's been dead for 4 years.
Ah, darn it.
So that's really not an option.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, he's not going to do much from beyond the grave. That's a good point.
Oh, man. Still cursing at players. A question I asked, or go ahead.
I was going to say I want a Cliff so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Cliff is a sizzle pick. Give me that offense. Give me that pretty boy swag, even though he's –
Give me an interview.
Yeah.
Give me an interview.
I would have liked
to
Aaron Glenn a lot as well.
Yeah, he's going to go waste away in New York.
Guy has some juice.
Anybody from that staff would have.
No,
couldn't you have had anybody and kept Schottenheimer? Like, that's a plausible option. Like, a lot of this is talking about like keeping consistency for Dak, but you could have kept Schottenheimer if you wanted to.
Well, yeah. If you remember, I guess 15 years ago when they hired Wade Phillips, or 20 years ago now, I don't even know how long. Jerry hired Jason Garrett first as the offensive coordinator and said, if I don't find a coach, I'll just make Jason Garrett the coach. And then Jason Garrett was the coach the whole, he couldn't wait for an opportunity to make Jason Garrett the coach. So Jerry's done this before. And I don't believe that couldn't they've hired Brian Schottenheimer tomorrow and talk to Cliff Kingsbury today or, done it next Friday. It's just so blah, blah.
Are you telling me most organizations don't do what you just described, where they bring in an heir apparent and say, this is the guy who's calling plays, and then hire the coach and then tell that coach, like, hey, this guy, he's probably going to take your job in a few years, but just deal with it?
And most organizations don't just hire the on-staff consultant for a losing franchise either.
Very true.
I asked the question on Twitter, And I feel it's a half decent question. Do we think this is going to be Jerry Jones' last head coaching hire?
Meaning,
or what are the odds?
Meaning because he's getting so old and he could be passing the reins on to his son soon,
or passing over,
or passing on to
Schottenheimer's so bad that he fires him when he's 3-9 in year one, or that Jerry is no longer there to make the next pick for whatever reason that might be, and Schottenheimer's half decent. Like, do you feel like the odds are greater that this is the last hire?
Yes.
Than not.
That's where my money goes.
So I don't feel like Jerry's making this pick saying this is his legacy hire. Like, that's the guy putting him in the grave.
Assuming this doesn't work out, and by work out I mean like, you know, the boys go on a serious run here, I can't imagine the last chapter of Jerry Jones as an owner / GM being like a Brian Schottenheimer one. But who the fuck knows? I don't. That's a good, decent question, I guess. I don't know.
It's a 4-year deal.
Okay, is Jerry's life a 4-year deal? I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying? There are
in.
opt-outs on both sides, on all three sides, if you will.
If you think Jerry is going to do this again, I think the most realistic expectation is that this turns into a Dave Campo situation where you go 5-11, 3 years in a row, and then you hire somebody. I don't think the Cowboys are bad enough that they'd go 3-14 this year, and that they'd have to run him off after 1 year. I think you're stuck with him for a couple years here.
Yeah, and he really coached up the offense when Dak was out and they were limited with weapons this year. And like you saw the improvements that offense had in like Dak's absence. So like I think even given like a fluke injury, like they should fare okay, right?
Stop.
Or a perfectly reasonable and expected injury to a key contributor, which is likely.
Exactly.
Can I issue okay, so I'm on Twitter, I'm on X. I like to dabble from time to time. And you know, the general sentiment is it's not even disappointment, a lot of it is anger. So, can I just say to the generic Dallas bro out there who's mad about this and who's going to be, you know, maybe at Micah Casino, Highland Park Village, or one of the many restaurants in the nice parts of Dallas where you might run into the Jones family from time to time. I'm not saying harass them, but if you walk by and in years past you'd be like, oh, fuck, dude, Jerry, you're texting the boys like, dude, Jerry's at what's the bar? He's at Inwood Tavern or wherever. Instead of taking a picture and like not sucking him off, that's the wrong way to put it.
Right.
Stroking his ego, he's Jerry Jones. Maybe just give him a thumbs down. Let him know you're unhappy. He needs to know. He needs to feel it. This needs to be more like a soccer team in England.
I'm sensing a lot of apathy among the Cowboys fans. Like even Micah, like he usually calls in, he's fired up, he's calling Mike McCarthy fat and kind of screaming into the phone.
He did that.
He's just very subdued. He's
called
just
him a fat loser.
He's just like, yeah, it is what it is, man. This is our life as a Cowboys fan. It's just like there's no excitement, there's no juice in this franchise right now.
I have a hard time believing people are like angry. This is just sort of what it is.
Yeah.
This is the most logical hire in many ways. And, instead of, the reality is you can go up to Jerry at the cigar bar at Javier's and throw him 2 thumbs down, but the season tickets are still going to sell out, and there's still going to be people waiting to go on a tour of the facility, which I'm sure those aren't going to stop now with Brian Schottenheimer in charge. And it's just, his checking account is going to be just fine. So I don't think I think Jerry is immune to, public taste. I don't think he's spending much time on X, formerly Twitter. But, all the local radio hosts can grill him, and then he'll just fire those guys.
That's
or
true.
Something. I mean, it's sad, man. Sad. That's all I can say. It's all I've said all season. That's all I'm going to continue to say.
All right.
By the way,
I'm just sad right now. I don't even want to move on.
Yeah. Did you know that there are only 6 players on the Eagles and 6 players on the Chiefs that were born before that weren't born after the Cowboys' last NFC Championship appearance.
That we're alive for
30 years.
We're 30. It was 95, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
January of 96 is when the game was played. So,
Okay.
Yeah. Cowboys,
sounds
Cowboys also have 11 of those guys on their team. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it hasn't been a great run. It sure hasn't.
Kind of took the air out of the ball there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Micah, I'm sorry, man.
What if
At least run this together, my friend.
Micah, what are you going to do with your upside down Dallas hat now?
I'm still going to wear it fairly proudly, but I will say I was in Dallas last weekend for a buddy's birthday, and uptown Dallas has seen better days. I don't know if you guys have been up there in a
It's
while.
rough.
Cedar Springs is like totally shut down. Most of McKinney is boarded up. It's it's not the same place as my youth.
Bidenflation.
They need Johnny Dallas back in there.
Yeah.
Johnny Dallas may officially be dead. That's what I've learned.
Oh, God bless.
man.
Just gets worse.
Oh,
I
darn
did
it.
have a tremendous oyster lunch at a place called Greenpoint in the Knox area, and it was tremendous. So many ladies who lunched, so many babies in designer clothing. I saw a baby in leather pants and
What?
a leopard print, vest. I was like, God, this is awesome. I love Dallas. I love Highland Park.
Oh.
But yeah, these are dark days for Cowboys fans.
All right.
A baby in leather pants.
Yeah. You don't see that on South First Street when you get your coffee in the morning, Dave.
No, you certainly
No,
don't.
Perlis doesn't have a leopard printed baby hanging out.
Oh,
Having
my.
a seafood tower for brunch.
Oh, man.
Oh, a lot of seafood towers. Oh, man. Highly recommend Greenpoint.
Well, Micah, we will continue to monitor the situation as the staff fills out. Looks like we're going to get Eberflus for DC. I know that's got everybody bricked up.
Sure.
The Flus.
He killed it in Chicago.
Greenpoint looks pretty
Yeah.
sick.
He did.
Not going to lie.
God, we drove Zimmer to retire. By the way, Zimmer engaged to a shockingly young lady. We knew that, right?
I did not.
Oh, yeah. Not bad.
Good for him.
Not bad. Micah, we'll give you the final word.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you. There
Wow.
he goes.
That's a beaten down man. We love you, Micah.
That's the great Michael Wiener.
And he's
Can
out.
we, or I guess we have to hit a read, or can we briefly touch on the Jags coaching hire?
Let's do Jags right after I do a little something I like to call Prize Picks. Prize Picks. The best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. The big game is almost here, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last football game of the season with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the big game. Prize Picks is also giving away a free pick for the big game, where one of the starting quarterbacks will only need to throw 1 yard to win. 1 yard. Come on, you can do that. If you're correct on at least one or more stat projections, you can win real cash. Check out the promos tab to tail any of our super sweet Millie winners. Super sweet Millie winners. Big game lineups. If you tail a lineup that goes 3 for 3, you can win a split of $1 million in promo funds. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Check it out. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday each Tuesday. Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Check it out. That's Prize Picks. Get in there. Let's hear about these Jags.
All right. So I provided Randy with a little photo as the Jags are hosting their head coaching press conference. Serves as a good reminder as one of the reasons I support the Jags, not only because their owner, Shad Khan, is originally from Central Illinois, as am I, but anytime I see him, I laugh as he has the Raleigh Fingers mustache. Always needs to be shown anytime you have an opportunity to do so. Liam Cohen is their head coach they just hired away from the Bucs. And if you saw any of the headlines or brief snippets of this story, this saga, if you will, it was somewhat interesting. Did either of you fellers catch how this all went down?
Not really. I kind of caught a bit of it, but I need a better explanation.
I followed it just via Twitter, and it
Yep.
seemed like what was happening was unprecedented and pretty hilarious.
So Liam Cohen was interviewed by the Jags sometime last week. There was a headline that came out, a report. He had withdrawn his name from consideration. And then the next day, the Jags had fired Trent Baalke, who was a holdover GM that they didn't fire after Doug Peterson was ousted, which was interesting because Baalke previously was like at the Niners before John Lynch and some other stops and isn't like highly regarded, but has been around long enough to like get a job. So that was a very interesting turn of events. Shortly after he withdrew his name from the Jags, he was the Bucs reported agreeing to terms with the highest paid offense or highest paid coordinator deal for Liam Cohen in the league. Now you're asking like, hey, who is this and why does he deserve it? He's served a whopping 1 year with the Bucs, but notable that Baker Mayfield had his best year statistically, and Bucky Irving, rookie running back for the Bucs, had like a tremendous breakout year, and they were cooking on all cylinders. Obviously, you've got a Hall of Fame wide receiver, Mike Evans, and they fought through multiple injuries in the wide receiver room, and they were very productive. To whom you want to attribute that, who knows? But Liam Cohen got a lot of respect and a lot of credit for it to be getting this job offer after 1 year. So, after that was reported that he got this extension, they fire Baalke in Jacksonville. And then Friday night, reports start to come down that he hadn't signed his deal with the Bucs and that he was back in Jacksonville renegotiating terms with the Jags and ultimately accepted that position. Salacious, yeah, sure, whatever. You know, you can read into that. There's also some Rooney Rule situations going on, like the Jags hadn't completed their Rooney interviews. And so like they wanted to figure out a way to like complete those, but not discourage those candidates like to the point where they would cancel their interviews if they knew that after that first interview, they were going to sign Liam Cohen. They probably wouldn't have interviewed in between the two. So that's murky, whatever. What I wanted to bring to attention is this guy's career and how this is not the first time he's kind of gone through some like, hey, I'm here, but I'm not. Again, prior to 1 year with the Bucs, Kentucky for 1 year. Hired in January 2023 before leaving for Tampa in 2024. Prior to that, actually, let me start at the beginning. It's a lot instead of going backwards. The guy's, whatever, how old? 38, 37, born in 85. Played at UMass as quarterback right out of there, 3 years in like Brown, Rhode Island, UMass, and like coordinators. Got hired with the Rams, Sean McVay squad. So add this to the tree of like young dudes from Sean McVay in 2018.
Coaching tree. Love it.
As an assistant wide receivers coach at that time. Eventually became an assistant quarterback coach in 2020 before moving on to Kentucky as their OC. So went from the assistant quarterbacks coach in his first NFL gig, his first real gig, to becoming the OC of a SEC school. Again, this was like December 2020 when like every McVay offshoot was getting a gig somewhere at some point, and he became the OC there. Apparently he ran into Mark Stoops and like, you know, this is straight from Wiki, so whatever, presented a detailed plan of 300 plays that he could install and believed that the team could run it successfully. And they went 10-3. So like, I'm not saying he's not who he says he is. It's just wild. Again, 3 years at the Rams, becomes the OC. In 2020. 2 years after that, goes back to the Rams. after being the OC, goes back to the Rams just to be an assistant wide receivers coach, not to be an OC, and eventually became the quarterbacks coach. I'm sorry. I fucked that all up. Goes back to the Rams to be the OC after Kevin O'Connell, who's the current Vikings coach. So, like, Kentucky OC goes back to the league for a year. 1 year as the Rams OC and goes back to Kentucky. So you see why I'm fucking it all up. He was at Kentucky twice. He was with the Rams twice over the course of like 5 years.
You're a recruiter. What's that resume look like for you?
Exactly. Like, how many fucking CV bullet points am I looking at? I read this all day, like talk about linear timelines, and this is blowing my mind. 1 year stop at the Bucks, and now he's the Jags head coach. So again, I'm not here to say that the guy is not legit, but we're talking about a cumulative 3 years as the OC at Kentucky, 1 year as the OC of the Rams, and a couple years on staff with McVay. And you're like, hey, we want to pay this guy more than anybody as a coordinator, and then outbid him to be a head coach of Trevor Lawrence, who you're paying $100 million. Wild.
He got Balky fired though. So
got a GM fired. Like,
if nothing else,
on top of everything.
If nothing else, if you're a Jags fan, that's got to be a step in the right direction, right?
Unlikable, but the guy was like, he built the team incorrectly. How about, I think I said that earlier in the year, like every other successful team's building from a line, whatever you want to do about a running back, whatever, like building offensive line, defensive line, and then find a wide receiver. And he paid Christian Kirk $100 million. They went and signed Gabe Davis. They re-signed Evan Ingram, which was a good decision, but they've spent like a lot of money on weapons for for Trevor Lawrence. And of course he's getting sacked left and right and he's been injured. So like, wild shit for a team that nobody should care about. How about that?
Sounds like a couple teams that are going to compete in the next couple of years for a Super Bowl.
Like neither of these breathe like success.
I mean, seriously, like, I mean, who knows? You don't know. Like, people shit on Schottenheimer. Most of the people who are shitting on it, they don't know anything about the guy. They just know it's not a name they're very familiar with. And if they are familiar with it, it's because of his dad. And
Eminem.
Okay, yeah, and Eminem.
And that is not cussed at players. Like, that's the only thing that you would remember. Looking at the other head coaching hires, to your point, like Ben Johnson was talked about every single game that was played in the NFL on Fox every single week. I feel like people know who he is for some reason now, and the Bears have to be excited. Pete Carroll, whether or not you think it's going to be successful, if I'm a Raiders fan, I'm at least optimistic.
He's so old.
Question mark.
Dude, he really is.
He's 74.
He's 74. Feels like a young 74.
He's a young 74.
But still, I mean.
A stressful job. So, I mean, considering that, he's old.
If a guy can be president.
Fair.
Well, did Pete Carroll use up his battery? That's the real question.
That's a great point.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a great point.
He's got some juice left.
The way he chews
Speaking of juice.
Yeah, chewing that gum, that juicy fruit. That's you got it.
Power chewer. That is top tier.
God, dude, he is a real chewer.
The Patriots with Vrabel, I feel like everybody's like universally supportive of that decision, and like was probably the strongest candidate amongst any open available candidates, I think. And then Aaron Glenn with the Jets, again, just like Ben Johnson, got a lot of talk over the last couple of years. So like, if you're the Cowboys, and to a lesser degree the Jags, who have no reason to hope for anything, like, yeah, this kind of feels shitty, I guess. And the Saints yet to hire anybody, which I don't know. Maybe that's Kellen Moore?
Kubiak.
McCarthy? No, he just took the job, didn't he? Or there are two coups that I'm not considering here.
There's two. I really don't know. But
one is in San Fran now.
Okay. That is Clay? I don't know. It's
Clay or Clay.
Kubiaks are.
Hopefully our friend Kubiak is not listening.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Seahawks hire ex-Saints OC to same role. I don't know why I said the Niners. So then maybe one is with the Niners.
Yeah, Clay is with the Niners, I believe. Again, we regret the error to Klein and Gary.
This is a good problem to be confused about. I'm so sorry I couldn't get straight how
It's
many
okay.
brothers have prominent roles in the NFL. I apologize. I accept the text that should be forthcoming.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, there was part of me who was like, dude, are they really about to do something with Witten here? Go back to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like Witten's even going to end up on Schottenheimer's staff, which I don't care either way. Like I wouldn't be mad if he was like a tight ends coach or something, but like the fact that he's not, you know, the thought was they're going to get Schottenheimer, make Witten the heir apparent, kind of like with that situation we referred to with Wade Phillips and Jason Garrett, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I don't know, man. It's weird. It's a weird time in the NFL because it's like you get the trendy guys, and you know it's like everybody. Last 2 years, it's everybody wants a Dan Campbell. They just want like a alpha white guy who takes big shits. And now it's like, okay, now what do we get? And now what do we want? Well, it's Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni. Nobody wants a Nick Sirianni. Like even as good as he's been, which is stellar. You know, in game, been some issues, but like he's a great coach. Nobody wants us. I mean, what does that? What does a Nick Sirianni look like? KJ,
like all of the fans that you've seen in every clip of them fighting and fucking with other fans from other places. That's what Nick Sirianni looks like, and that's why it works, I guess. Matt Campbell, speaking of coaches we try to fire. Like I think Sirianni was in our discussions early this year when we were talking about like McCarthy, Doug Peterson, or Sirianni, like who would go first, and we were 2 for 3.
Yeah, we've extended the coaching lives of a lot of coaches. We again regret the heir to Matt Campbell, who we have wronged many times. Mainly me. I'll take that L. Dylan, did you cook something up over there? Looks like you had a little.
I was adding to run it back.
I can imagine what that was.
Something about an alpha guy who takes big shits.
Does he not look like he takes big shits?
He looks like he takes Mondos. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like only in flip flops exclusively too.
Mondo number 5.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lou Bega reference there.
Thank you, Randy.
Pooh Bega.
Pooh Bega, he said. Not bad. He's cooking over there. He's quiet, but he's cooking.
Okay.
I do feel bad for Aaron Glenn. The Jets job, I mean, it's great. Like I just feel like it's the Jets. I don't know. You could say the same for the Cowboys, I guess, but the Jets do have like a certain connotation.
Cursed franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're in that territory now.
A-Rod's playing next year?
I don't know. I'm sure he'll make it as strung out and weird as possible.
And all about himself.
All
as
about
possible.
him, yeah.
Yeah.
We never watched the doc, by the way. The Raj doc. We talked about watching it, and then it just fell out of holidays.
Maybe I
like,
watched a couple thinking that we were going to discuss it, and then I got to the end of those 2 and was like, yeah, I don't feel great about this. I think on the way to Penn State, I watched on that flight, actually. That's exactly what I did. And then that was 2 weeks removed.
Speaking of Penn State,
yeah.
did you see their move?
Thank you. I forgot to
over
add
the
that.
weekend.
What's dude's Knowles, Jim Knowles.
Yeah, Jim Knowles, Ohio State to DC.
That's a big pull there.
That's a big pull.
3.1 his first year, I believe. Highest paid coordinator in college football, I think.
Damn.
Yeah, apparently he reached out to OU initially, or his agent did. And OU was pretty confident that they were going to hire Knowles away from Ohio State, but it looked like all part of the plan to get Max paid.
Oh, used him.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Be fun to get our friend on here to talk about it, actually.
Which friend?
You asked me that, Len. I forgot his name.
Eddie
sooner-
Radosevich.
Eddie.
Oh, Eddie. Sorry,
Eddie.
I was thinking Mike again. Yeah. Eddie
Radosevich.
Radosevich.
I was like, who do we talk to from Ohio State? We were
Love
all
Eddie.
on different planets.
We got
Eddie's a
no
funny guy.
friends in
He
Ohio.
came from Oklahoma State, Jim Knowles, not to completely talk on top of everybody. He was at Oklahoma State for 3 years before going to Ohio State, and they had built up a reputable defense to show you like how far Oklahoma State's fallen in that short time period. So that's incredible. But he's originally from the Philly area, or whatever.
That week 1 game next season, Texas at Ohio State is looking more gettable by the minute.
Jeez.
They've lost. They're losing a ton. Well, Texas is too, but they're losing a ton.
There's a rumbling or two about the offense coordinator up in Columbus being on top of the list, and Jacksonville, as well as another team that I cannot recall.
Chip Kelly, you're talking about.
I don't see him going back to the league, but yeah, Chip Kelly, his name is being floated as a top OC candidate.
Interesting. Okay. What else? I guess we could talk about these games that went down yesterday, huh?
Yep.
I'd like to talk about
Start
these
the
games.
NFC first.
Yeah, let's talk Philly and the team from Washington. Didn't feel, looking at the score, it's like, oh my God, just ass whipping. Washington was very much in this game, if not for shooting themselves in the foot repeatedly.
Yeah, they were hanging around despite 4 turnovers in the game. Philly had 0, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the story of the game. Unfortunately, tough to see a season end just with 4-0 turnover margin. Saquon, first play of the game, does what Saquon does. He is unbelievable. I tweeted during this game, and only tweet during the game. I talk about the tush push, and I just can't stand the tush push. It feels just like they found a glitch in like a video game, and they just keep exposing it over and over again. It's a play no one wants to see. It's boring. It works every single time, and I'm all for the league closing that loophole. I don't like it.
Are you guys like me when you see the tush push, when you see them line up for it and you watch it happen? Are you like in your head thinking about like what you would do and like what they like, or like what you would like
stop it?
Yeah, you're like, okay, what if a linebacker jumps over the line, does like a wrestling flip, grabs. Yeah, I'm just like thinking of ways you could possibly, and there's not one.
We just don't need to see 12 QB sneaks a game. We don't need it. I know that they work, and they're going to keep running them until they stop working or the league makes a rule against that play. It's just bad. It's just bad, boring football to me. But you're right, it's unstoppable. And that linebacker for Washington, forgot his last name. That he kept jumping over the line during that goal line stand there. It was pretty funny. I didn't know that the officials could award a team points. It
makes sense.
When he was explaining it to the crowd, he mentioned that type, quote unquote, this type of behavior, which was funny.
He went a little off script.
Yeah, this type of behavior, we can award the other team points if the other team continues this type of behavior. Like, what? I had never heard that rule in my life.
Like, doesn't that strike you as something that would be communicated directly to the coaches? Like an extended, like, hey, we're throwing the flag, and they walk to both coaches directly and let them know that that's the circumstances.
Yeah.
And then if it happens, like, announce it to the crowd.
It's
like, again, you're going to deal with all hell breaking loose. I get it. But like, I feel like that's probably stuff one of the sideline refs, which I noticed they've got like 2 of them fucking bodyguard and coaches nowadays. Like, they should be explaining this directly.
It's like in basketball when there's an unruly crowd and they can call a T on the home team, for their crowd. It's weird, and I would love to see how it shows up in a box score. And can you imagine, for gambling purposes, if that was somehow?
Yeah, who gets the touchdown?
Yeah, who gets it? I mean, because you can't go after like, so wait, what we all gonna do on that play? How'd y'all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. And then like, if it's something to where it's the line or like a bet, you got money on it, and all of a sudden the ref is awarding points. You're like, what the fuck? Like, it is just blew my mind.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, and I guess you could do that in a million ways of like completely delaying the game for that reason. Like, if you are continuously just holding a wide receiver, of course the offense can run a different play. Let's say you just continuously goal line fade, but all the cornerback does is just bear hug the receiver every time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but yeah, that quarterback sneak, I guess you can just be like, no, fuck this. Like, you don't even have to jump. Like, just push his helmet over and over.
And they were moving the ball up 3 inches each time because they were on the goal line. So stupid.
So silly.
They should just do it until the tip of the ball actually, where they're going to line up,
Ball has
crosses the plane. And it's like, well, You did it enough, and now here we are.
It's half the distance each time. So, I mean, in theory, it'll never reach the goal line.
I guess that's yeah.
Shit. Look at you and Matt.
Micro
space guy over here.
Millimeters.
Hey, with how these refs are nowadays, feels like they're just awarding points to the Chiefs every game.
Okay.
All right, Randy. Randy's up on it. He's picking his spot.
Wrong game.
You just keep shooting.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm rooting for the Chiefs, though.
All right, thanks. Yeah, you know what? Not talked about in the Commanders' run is like all the focus on Jaden Daniels. Great, he's awesome. Their offense is good. Their defense, not good. Like, which is shocking because it's a Dan Quinn defense, and granted, it's only year one. But you'd think if you had told somebody before the season, like, yeah, the Commanders are going to get to the Super Bowl, you're like, well, fuck yeah, they got a rookie quarterback, and he'll be like a game manager. He won't turn the ball over, and their defense is going to be sick. Like, their defense is going to be a top 5, top 10 defense. They weren't a top 10 defense, and they did not look good yesterday. As Dylan mentioned, the first play from scrimmage for the Eagles to the house.
You have to be pretty excited if you're a Washington fan right now. You got Jaden Daniels. He's on his rookie contract the next few years. They're going to be good.
They're going to be good.
That dude's a baller. Right? He's fun to watch.
They've got defensive pieces, too. Deron Payne was out. Not that would have made a big difference. I think it helps a little bit. Especially in some of the tush-push situations. But, like, yeah. It'll be a fun team to watch, especially if Cliff sticks around. If their coaching staff stays somewhat similar, it'd be good.
Yeah, if I'm Cliff, I'm staying there at least another year. You keep
What's the rush?
Having Jaden Daniels make you look good, and then maybe, I don't know what jobs would be, hot seat next year. But
New Orleans Cliff, like, you could see him in a third line, like, every other weekend, just loving life down there.
What's he up to these days? Is he married? Is he slowed down?
Does it matter?
Probably not.
I don't know. He looks like he doesn't sleep. Every time I see him, I'm like, that man looks like he is grinding in DC.
When he was in Lubbock, dude, you didn't, and granted, that's like, he's coaching a college team. You didn't see him. He wasn't out grocery shopping amongst the people. He had people who did everything for him. So he was like borderline recluse. He wasn't at one of the 2 good restaurants there. I'm just kidding. There's probably 3.
Jimmy's or Crickets.
Las Baristas, shout out. Crickets, come on. Yeah, they shut down
Wasn't
Nick's.
Josie's 7? Sorry. Anyhow.
Anyway, yeah. So Philly's back.
They are.
Jalen Carter still really good.
There's no chance we'll hear from the Kelsey brothers during this run, though, or not Kelsey brothers, but from other Kelsey that's not playing for the next 15
Jason
days.
Did the tush push force him into early retirement? He's been quoted on camera saying, I hated that play. I hated running that play.
I don't know, but if that's the case, like, I feel like that's the only way that stops getting run. Like, if we start seeing consistent, like, injury or wear and tear issues, who was the Ravens run it with Mark Andrews instead of Lamar Jackson sometimes. But apparently it takes more than just running the play. I guess that's the one thing to be appreciated about the Eagles doing it so much as we segue to the next game. If there's a team that should be able to run this play, it's the fucking Bills.
It's the fucking Bills. But you know what? Real quick, before we get into the Bills and the Chiefs, gotta give a shout out to our good friends at Magic Mind. Look, Magic Mind, I discovered these guys 4 or 5 years ago, and I needed something other than coffee. I was looking for a way to just kind of boost my mental clarity in the morning. I now take a shot of Magic Mind with my coffee. They sent us some here. They went quick. I've got some at home. I'm a big fan. What is it now? Well, let me tell you. Focus, clarity, a sharper mind, less stress, clean energy, time-release caffeine. Caffeine doesn't actually give you energy. It blocks the adenosine neuroreceptor in your brain. You knew that, Dylan. The neuroreceptors that tell you you're tired. And guess what? Magic Mind's formula uses 12 active ingredients to help support your body's energy engine, ATP instead. Day after day, Magic Mind is not a fleeting charge-up. No, it's an enhancement for a brilliant today and an even better tomorrow. Less stress. They've got herbs in Magic Mind's formula that provides safe and effective stress reduction, a sense of calmness, and a lifted mood. It's not a coffee replacement. does not replace your coffee. It's an addition to your morning routine, just like your daily essential vitamin, but for your mind. The L-theanine inside also helps your coffee last all day. And you can check out the bundle with Magic Mind Sleep. Energy without sleep is the opposite of productive. Magic Mind Sleep helps you fall asleep faster and get a deeper rest. It's 100% safe. All ingredients are third-party tested and sourced from the best suppliers. And Magic Mind donates 5 cents for each bottle sold to mental health charities that help U.S. homeless communities. Get 45% off the Magic Mind bundle with our link, magicmind.com/TMDJAN. That's magicmind.com/TMDJAN. That'll get you 45% off the Magic Mind bundle. Go check that link out. The link's in the bio also. So check it out, Magic Mind. We are huge fans. All right. I can't remember the last time I was like mad at a non-Dallas team, a non-DFW team losing. But last night was that night.
Yeah, I really thought this was the Bills' year. I think a lot of people thought that. I too was pretty disappointed. At this point, I don't know. I know that the Bills' defense is not like great. But man, I really thought that they were going to do enough in this game, and it's just like, what does Josh Allen have to do? I mean, I'm just frustrated.
So, well, the thing that I kept thinking about during that game, on the first Josh Allen quarterback sneak, I wanted to bring this up during the tush push, but I didn't want to do too much crossover. Romo and Nance, they made the point that, like, the Chiefs mentioned in our meeting that he likes to run that to the left side. Like, that's his thing, and they're aware of it. And to their credit, like, they were, even when he was getting them, like, converting, it was close. You know what I'm saying? And when it wasn't working, it was like, Jesus, dude, like, did the Bills not have somebody, like, do they not know, like, Romo and Nance know, like, you're gonna run it to that side, and they never really switched it up. Now, he went over the top on one and got it, which is always a dangerous play. But, like,
He fumbled on that play, actually.
yeah, he did fumble on that play, so very dangerous. That game just felt like so gettable, and I'm like trying to figure out who to blame because I was riding with the Bills so hard, and fuck, man, it just seems like they got out coached.
They just have the Bills' number in these big games, especially. It's just I don't know what needs to happen to get over this Chiefs hump for
They
them.
have everybody's number in big games. It's insane.
Yeah.
I certainly would not count myself amongst those that are like co-opting the Texas Tech Chiefs fan base or any other reasons that people have like started following the Chiefs, with the exception that their owner supports one of the best college football programs in the country. But I don't know, the matchup of having Allen and Lamar play, Josh Allen and Lamar play last week, and having had them knock one or another out, I guess, or maybe Josh Allen knocking Lamar out a couple times, whatever, put me in a position where I'm like, okay, well, if Josh Allen and Bills get over this hump, like, it's going to shower so much, I wouldn't say unnecessary praise. Josh Allen's been tremendous, very due praise, but like, it would for some reason amplify judgment towards Lamar, and I think an unfair way, that I found myself like rooting for the Chiefs because I didn't want to see that whole like debate just become imbalanced, because I don't think one's much better than the other. Frankly, if you rotate the quarterbacks around and you keep the coaches and the staffs like consistent, I don't think that Mahomes is like individually that much better than the others. I think that Andy Reid might be the best head coach of all time at this point, like deserves to be, at the forefront of that discussion at this point. Bill Belichick did some incredible things, but if you flip one Andy Reid Super Bowl with the Eagles, like I think people give those teams the proper amount of respect and really realize like how much Andy Reid's built with two generationally different franchises and consistently been successful. Like, I don't know. I'm excited to see the Chiefs because of Andy Reid. It sucked to see the Bills lose in the manner that they did, but I don't think this says a lot about like Josh Allen as much as it does like you're just in the wrong era.
Yeah.
You're just in the wrong conference, playing against the wrong team.
That's what I was saying about Lamar Jackson.
You got to ask for a
last
trade.
week.
Like, I'm Josh Allen. Send me to fucking Seattle. Puts me close to home in Wyoming, whatever, wherever he's actually from, and I get to play in the NFC.
Yeah, their career started in just the worst era for them possible.
I wouldn't be ashamed to do it. Like that's make a Katie, I guess didn't switch conferences, but like, fuck it. If you really feel like the only thing separating you from like being in that conversation, I'm not waiting around for the Pagulas to make Buffalo that team and ride out like 7 more years of going to the playoffs and like maybe you get one. Like you could be then playing in this game in the Super Bowl with whatever other team. Like wouldn't be beyond it. Fuck it. Who cares?
It was funny how absolutely dead ass wrong Romo was on that last play. That Romo, he's
couple times yesterday.
A couple times, and that's, I mean, look, that you put yourself out there, making predictions, you're gonna be wrong. But it was great on such an insane play where it's like he's gonna have time here, Jim. Well, there was a corner blitz, and he did not have any time, and he is not a routine catch, but he is a catch you want your tight end, your starting tight end in the NFL to make away from like one of like the greatest throws ever. I'm talking about to Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
Like the overhead, the all 22. The all 22, that's nuts.
So Shakir was wide open in the flat.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was the same play that Ohio State ran with Jeremiah Smith where he scored the touchdown, where he starts to run the in around the backfield and then just reverses field and hits the flat, and he was wide open. But I don't think Josh Allen thought he had that because of the blitz, and he had like 3 guys in his face. I feel like he didn't have time.
Turning around and like
the time
falling
to make the
it.
turn. Yeah, I mean, that's a big effort to get that ball out. But he was wide open, and that would have been an absolute first down had he hit him in the flat. But you're right, Kincaid is a great tight end. Had a chance to make that play, and that's just the Chiefs' magic working for you right there.
Yeah. That's what's their coordinator's name?
Steve
Spagnuolo.
Spag.
That dude's just fucking dialed.
He's in his bag.
Yeah, look, I don't know if people are trying to put that on Josh. I mean, he was basically back there, had like 1,000 guys in his face, like he was Bonnie Blue or something.
Yeah, Bonnie Blue. KJ, do you know who Bonnie Blue is?
I feel like I'm putting 2 and 2 together. Much like that time I swore, I didn't really know what the image was from. Unfortunately, my brain got there quick enough.
Hey, we didn't do a weekend check, KJ. What were you doing like Friday? What were you watching on Friday night?
Oh, cheek-in check, if you will. I was legitimately watching the Oregon State and Auburn gymnastics competition, like in full clothed, like fully clothed. But I was in earnest watching the event as it was like an incredibly competitive event. Well, it was, all around competition, blah, blah, blah. And in my defense, Oregon State won it by like 2/100ths of a point.
Oh, wow.
So it was like compelling television.
Nail-biter.
I didn't get there initially at first, like saying, man, this is going to be a banger. I'll be honest with you. I might've been lured in by, the appeal, if you will, but I stuck around. Because they brought out a fucking celebratory chainsaw at a gymnastics event. Like,
it's tight.
What?
That's what's up.
I've not
It just
seen
means
like
more.
turnover chains and, club takeaway in college gymnastics. I didn't realize we'd gotten there, but Oregon State's always done. They will saw off a fucking piece of a log on the sideline. And I don't think they actually do a live one, but I think they pretend to.
I bet Dan Campbell's doing that right now.
You don't need a chainsaw.
But to bust that out in the middle of like a full arena while you got like chalked up hands and hold it over your head, it's like a 5'4", 110-pound girl. I'm like, what is going on? A lot of cake though.
What are we?
A lot of cake.
Come
Someone's
on.
birthday?
Man.
What do we think about the spot? I can't speak on it objectively. I have my mind made up.
I thought it was a poor spot. I thought it was a poor spot, but I don't think you can overturn that in a review.
I'm sure there's
sense.
I'm sure there's an explanation that they put out there as to why one line judge was 6 inches, maybe a foot, giving them the first down, and the other guy who seemingly, maybe this is wrong, didn't seem to have as good of a view, came and was so demonstrative and sure that no, it wasn't. Most people I saw online that were seemingly objective seemed to think that was a first down.
I thought it was.
I don't know. It adds to the Chiefs lore of,
They just want Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl.
Well, yes.
Yeah, if the refs are gonna call things in favor of the Chiefs intentionally, that's not a spot you do it in. I mean, there's so many like easy ways to hide calls in a game, like a hold there or a non-hold there, to influence a game. Something like that, it would just be too apparent, I think.
Did you okay? So back to the Josh Allen, the final play of the Bills of that drive, that fourth down that Kincaid drops the ball. The random flag that Nance referenced that there wasn't a flag, and they had like the graphic up. That is like the ultimate gasoline for somebody who wants to. It's like, oh,
did anybody see a flag?
No, but they had the graphic up, correct? Like on the and Nance is like, oh, there's a flag, and we're like,
Yeah, I was confused there. I'm not sure what exactly happened.
I'll watching the game. The Chiefs' gloves look exactly the same shade as yellow as the flag, so I can see maybe someone saw something. It's very confusing.
True,
Look
great
like
point.
mustard on the lettuce.
Yes,
little mustard on the lettuce.
Yeah, there's mustard on the lettuce.
But that is a extremely niche deep cut.
It's still a great line. Don't care. Haley Steinfeld is Josh Allen's fiance. I feel like people would have gotten just as much joy and attention out of like hyping that up for 2 weeks, not Taylor Swift level, but like the NFL would have been able to run that play several times. Again, not to the Taylor Swift level, but so I don't buy the Taylor Swift like angle here. The three-peat's the most appealing part, and kind of why I find myself rooting for. Didn't get suspended, still has not been convicted. Unfortunately, he's injured. Rashee Rice. Have we said anything about Xavier Worthy?
Not yet.
No, but
hell of a game.
Welcome to Kansas City.
Man had a day.
He had a day. That catch that was barely a catch was fucking impressive. Yeah, dude. He had a game. He had a touchdown. He had, I think, 85 yards receiving. A couple rushes as well.
Like 5 first down or like 5 plays that were either touchdowns or first downs, essentially, or something along those lines, which was just.
He's a dog, man. Not just a speed guy. I think people are learning that. KJ, do you want to hear your new head coach do the Duval chant for the first time?
Oh no.
Oh no!
Is this what I keep getting tagged in?
Probably.
God, he is just a generic looking white guy.
I've not heard it.
The video,
you just want to.
he looks really uncomfortable. You need the video component.
Send me the link.
Okay. Rainey's gonna play it though.
Let me send a link to you. Well,
all right. I have a take on this, or let me just point out that during the draft, when somebody gets drafted to the Jags, whoever the young lady interviewing the family, they like to make the family do the Duuuval thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always just insanely cringy. It's like, what do you really want me to? And it's
here we go.
I can't imagine how bad this is going to be. Oh no.
Here do I. All right, here we go.
Oh no.
Duval.
He looks so uncomfortable saying it, too. That dude is such a squid. I mean, look at that guy.
Dude, honestly, that's worse than I thought it could be.
He looks like the team accountant.
One more
As
time.
somebody who consumes most media online on mute, as I've said many a times, it's worse on mute.
Yeah.
Because then you just
You just see the
hyper
face.
focus on his eyebrows.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to need that for the soundboard.
Duval.
We'll just have to run that every time we give KJ.
Dude, say it with your
Yes,
chest.
somebody's
at least.
look.
Jags. Yeah, dude, he looks like
Who's-
if you walked, the year is 2008 and you just walked by the Fiji house at Texas.
Private party.
He was just hoping that no one was going to ask him to say it. But of course,
Duval.
Duval.
Yeah, the sway
more
is
time.
so
It's the
bad.
sway.
You want one more time? Here we go.
Duval.
All right, everybody's got to give theirs. Go ahead, Dylan, start.
Duval.
Oh, sultry.
Duval.
KJ?
Duval.
Oh,
Whoa.
The eyes that made me really uncomfortable.
Dude's the eyes.
Like I said, I'm watching this guy's eyebrows the whole time. That's all I could see in my head now.
Oh, you want me
Yeah.
to say it? Duval.
There it is.
Okay,
Little
everyone's
Boris Lowe on the
officially
back end,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
Boy, that is fucking terrible. Well, they're not winning a game. You guys are in trouble, man.
Barstool said negative aura points today.
Oh, fuck. Well, you know what? I had this whole argument in my head about how I had justified in my head possibly rooting for the Eagles in the Super Bowl because I don't actually hate their team. I don't like their coach. And I find the majority of their fans to be just deplorable people outside of Dan. But I was thinking also like this would hurt Jerry the most, Jerry Jones, if the Eagles won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but what does that do for anybody?
What's
It's
that
not-
do
he's
for
not gonna
anybody?
change
Doesn't
his
matter.
ways,
You're
yeah.
right. You're right. So I'm just going to ride with the Chiefs,
I am
and
too.
that the way I will justify it is that 10 years people are going to look back and be like, man, those are the guys that got all the calls. Those are the guys of the NFL. It was like scripted and shit. Yeah, so that's what I'm justifying it with.
I'm
So,
rooting for a couple Longhorns on the team. I'm riding
Oh.
Chiefs, and that's pretty much.
Here we go. Fucking
I
Tech
mean-
and
When you don't have a horse in the race, you find little small victories here and there, and that's where I'm at.
Quick wrap up, really quick to go back to our main or big topic early on. Reported by John Machota, who is Dallas Cowboys writer for The Athletic, talking to Jerry Jones. One, Deion Sanders was never a serious candidate to be the next Cowboys coach. No way. The fact that nobody transferred from like Colorado or like even mentioned that they were going to be going into the portal because of that or like just thinking about it, you should have known. It doesn't sound like Jason Witten will be on the staff. We've mentioned that. Schottenheimer will be calling offensive plays. Nightmare, as he wasn't previously. And Jerry didn't feel like he needed to meet with candidates like Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn because Brian Schottenheimer has a better understanding of the Cowboys' current situation. Jerry thinks Schottenheimer has the same skills as Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn.
okay.
Same skills.
I'll give him
again with the comfort hire. Like this is what you do.
I'll give him a shot. I mean, obviously,
He knows
what
where
other
the
choice?
restrooms are already. That puts him 2 steps ahead of the last guy.
Do you want your head coach calling plays or kind of overseeing the whole operation there?
I feel like Jerry forces most coaches initially to do that. That he doesn't like walk around head coaches initially before like that's discussed to be handed off.
I did not want Mike McCarthy calling plays, so I will take this. I don't know. And I'm surprised they didn't lean more on the players love them aspect. And maybe they did. Maybe I missed that part. But like I haven't seen. I know Dak posted something, but like normally when you get a hire like this, that everybody's like, huh? People are like, no. Well, look, dude, this dude in the locker room, these guys would run through a fucking brick wall and fucking piss on the floor for this guy.
Yep.
I think Schottenheimer tried to co-opt that when he was answering questions, saying he wasn't doing this alone. It's me, the Jones family, everyone here on the stage and all those fellas behind you, we're doing this together. I'm like, yeah, all right, bro. Again. Anyways, as a non-Cowboys fan, I enjoy watching that globe spin.
Who knows? All right, let's run it back.
What's for dinner?
Run it back, of course, is a segment during which we talk about what we already talked about. Dylan is pretty gassy today. Micah didn't get a chance to hear Jerry Jones speak today because he was working for the country's premier equipment leasing company.
Financing
company, excuse me. Micah was the Brian Schottenheimer of Garandex, as he explained. Brian's dad, Marty Schottenheimer, has been dead for 4 years. Micah had a tremendous oyster lunch at a place in Highland Park called Greenpoint. There was a baby in leather pants. Everyone wants their coach to be a big alpha guy who takes big shits. Randy with the Lou Bega reference.
Pooh Bega, yes.
Dylan tweeted during the game. I think Dave added that, or maybe KJ. Josh Allen had 1,000 guys in his face like he's Bonnie Blue or something. A lot of cake in that gymnastics arena. And finally, Duval. And that concludes Run It Back.
It's way better than Tarrant. Sorry, no other counties get so much shine.
Yeah,
like
why does
Jags.
the county get their own chant?
I don't know. He wasn't ready for that. They didn't prep him for that.
No.
That's on their PR team.
You got to practice that a few hundred times in the mirror.
This is 100% on the Jags
Or
comms
at least
team.
once.
Oh, man. All right. Well,
He looks like Mac Miller.
no.
It's a bad take.
Get
I
out
take
of
that
here.
back. I take
That's
that back.
terrible.
No.
All right. Let's get the hell out. Bye.
Bye.